Are you looking to improve the audio experience in your 2016 to 2023 Toyota Tacoma? Then this 6-speaker bundle from Alpine and Trailgrid Pro is the perfect upgrade for you. If you guys have been following along, you know that we've partnered with Alpine for a while now, and everybody has been super receptive and super happy with their Alpine head units. So what better to go with Alpine head unit is a new set of Alpine S-Series speakers. The Alpine S-Series speakers are designed to be lightweight and are engineered for high output and low distortion, giving you a nice clean and clear sound profile. Before we get started on exactly how to install this, let's talk about all of the accessories and everything that you're going to receive when you select this bundle and it's shipped directly to your door. You're going to get a set of 6x9 speakers for your front door with our Trailgrid Pro speaker adapter rings. You're going to get a set of 6.5-inch coaxial speakers for your back doors, again with the rings. And you're going to get a set of 2 3/4-inch dash speakers with our custom speaker brackets. You're going to also receive a full complement of all of the hardware, speaker adapters, and everything you need to install this in your own garage. These Alpine S-Series speakers are high-res certified with a power output of 85 watts RMS and 260 watts peak power. Our plug-and-play bundle is super easy to install with a couple of simple hand tools that you probably already have in your garage. So let's go over what you'll need to accomplish this install. You will need a ratchet. You can either use a manual or a powered. Of course, your 10mm socket. You also need a 3/8-inch socket. You need a 1/4-inch wrench, Phillips head screwdriver, either manual or powered. I like to have also a 10mm wrench with a swivel end on it. Makes the dash tweeters a little bit easier to get out. And then your choice of a panel popper. We have a metal one and a plastic one. So really not a whole lot to get this job done. So let's go ahead and jump in and show you exactly how to install this in this 2019 Toyota Tacoma. Before we jump into the truck and start getting everything torn apart so that we can get our new speakers in, let's go ahead and do a little bit of prep work to go ahead and put everything together. That way, once we get in the truck, it'll just make that whole process a whole lot simpler. So first thing that you want to do is check and make sure that we got everything that you were supposed to get. So what you should have is, like I said in the intro, you should have a set of 6x9s, 2 of our 6x9 speaker brackets. You will have a set of your 6.5-inch speakers and a set of our 6.5-inch speaker brackets. You will then have 2 sets of the speaker wire connectors that will go from the Alpine speakers directly to the factory connectors on your door. So you'll have 1 set for the 6x9s, 1 set for the 6.5s. You'll have your 2 3/4 dash speakers. You also have a set of the 2 3/4 Trailgrid speaker adapter rings here. Should have 1 little baggie of tiny nuts and bolts. These are going to be for our tweeters, our dash speakers. We've also included a bag of panhead Phillips head screws to attach the speakers to the mounting rings. And the last hardware bag here are these large 1/4-inch bolts. We're going to use these to attach the speaker brackets to the doors. So we're not going to use the factory, but we've included a new set of screws for you. So we're going to move some stuff around here on the table, and we're going to start putting things together because there is a little bit of assembly required for the dash speakers. So let's start with those, and we'll move on and get everything else set before we go into the truck. First up are the tweeters, the dash speakers themselves. So we're going to grab our small pack of number 4 nuts and bolts here, and we'll just go ahead and pour those out. And we'll go ahead and separate out everything. You're going to need 4 screws per side and 4 nuts per side. So we've actually gone ahead and included 1 extra set. So just in case you drop it on the garage floor, don't worry, there's an extra one in there for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our speaker bracket, and the speaker bracket is going to go on top of the tweeter. And what we want to do is, you can see there's 4 pre-drilled holes in the speaker bracket. We want to line those up with these notches in the actual speaker. And once we have that set on top, we're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver and a 1/4-inch wrench. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the bolts up from the bottom, and then we will put the nut right there on the top, and we can just go ahead and get these kind of finger tight. We're going to get all 4 of them started, and then we will tighten them up once all 4 are in place. All right, so we have all 4 in place on that one. So just keep in mind these speaker adapters are acrylic, so there's really no need to use a power tool for this step. They really just need to be snugged up. So we're going to use our screwdriver and our wrench, and we'll just snug these down. What we're going for is really just finger tight here. All right, now that we have that tightened down, we're going to grab our adapter plug here for the tweeter, and you'll notice there's a 1/4 and 1/8 inch spade connector on that. If we flip our speaker over, you will notice that there's also a corresponding 1/8 and 1/4 inch adapter or prong here on the back of the speaker. So we're just going to line up the 1/8 inch, wiggle it on till it clicks, and we're going to do the same thing with the 1/4 inch spade connector. So you can see that is nice and secure. So that's what we're going for. So let's go ahead and do the other one, and then we will move on to the 6 1/2. All right, so there we have it. Dash speaker assembly is complete. So we can just set these off to the side for right now. And what we can do is we can grab our 6 1/2, and you'll have the corresponding adapters for your door plugs. So what we can do is we can go ahead and connect these as well, same fashion as the dash speakers, 1/8, 1/4 inch spade connectors. We're just going to match them up, make sure that the metal prong goes into the metal tab, and it'll just click and lock into place. And we're going to push it all the way on just like that. And we'll just repeat the process for the other 6 1/2. All right, last but not least, 6x9 for your front door. Same fashion as the other 2 sets of speakers. Just going to grab your other door speaker adapters and connect the harness. Save our hardware for later, just in case. All right, so that's really all there is to it. A lot of just connecting adapters, a little bit of assembly on the dash speakers. But now that all of our speakers are prepped, we can go inside the vehicle, and we're going to start with the disassembly of the dash. We're going to start with disassembling the dash to get to our dash speakers. So the first thing that we need to do is, on the Tacoma, we actually need to remove the A-pillar trim. There's like fingers that go down and they lock into the speaker grill on the dash. So we're definitely going to want to remove the A-pillar trim, because if you try to pry up on just the dash grill, you're actually going to end up breaking something, and obviously nobody wants to do that. So on the driver's side, real simple. Right here on the top of the A-pillar trim, you'll notice the SRS airbag indicator. It's like scribed into the plastic. You'll see that it's on a little cover. We're going to use a plastic panel removal tool to pop that little door open and get access to a 10mm bolt. Once we remove that, we can slide the A-pillar trim up and out of the way, and then we'll have access to the speaker grill on the dash. On the passenger side, a little bit different scenario. We'll cover that a little bit more in detail, but you have the grab handle on that side, which you will also see 2 covers on. Again, pop the little covers off. You'll have a 10mm bolt under each of the covers. Remove that, then you can pull the trim and the grab handle off, and that'll get you access on the passenger side. But let's go ahead and start on the driver's side, and we'll get this taken apart. All right, so we see our little SRS airbag thing here on the cover. We're just going to take a little plastic tool, and we're just going to pop that open, and you can see there's one 10mm bolt right there. So we'll grab our tool And we'll go ahead and take that out. And I always like to set these in the cup holder so that I know where they are. And with that one bolt removed, you can just pull the trim kind of out and up. So with our panel out, here are the teeth that I was talking about that lock into the speaker grill. So like I said, if you just try to pry the speaker grill off of the dash, you're going to end up snapping this off or breaking that. So again, it's just like an up and out movement. So we'll set this off to the side. We can now use our panel tool again, and we're going to pry up on the speaker grill in the dash to remove it. Lift that up and out of the way. All right, so there's two 10mm bolts holding in the dash speaker. You have one here and one here. You may be able to get a socket on the one in the back. The one in the front is definitely a little tighter, so I'm going to use a wrench to get that one out, and we're going to go ahead and remove those two 10mm bolts. Set this in the cup holder, and we'll get the other one out. All right, with our two bolts removed, the dash speaker will lift straight out, and there is one speaker connection here on the back side. So we're just going to depress the tab in the middle and release the connector. All right, there we go. Now that we have our dash speaker out, you can see the one connector there. Again, just tab on the top to release the connector. So let's go over to the table. We're going to grab our new Alpine dash speaker with the assembly that we already put together, and we'll get that dropped in place and installed. We grabbed one of the Alpine dash speaker assemblies, so pretty straightforward here. We're just going to make one connection here. We're going to drop it into place and use the two 10mm bolts that we just took out to secure this. So let's go ahead and get the connection made. Just find our speaker wire here in the dash. Give that a nice push so that clicks together nicely. We're going to gently tuck the wire down out of the way. All right, so it is important to note the mount kind of has a eyeball teardrop shape to it, so it's only going to line up one way, but once we get the two holes lined up here, we can just start the 10mm bolts back by hand. All right, once we have everything lined up, we will just gently tighten down the two bolts. And again, we only really need to go finger tight on these. No need to over torque. All right, now that we have our dash speaker securely in place, we can replace the grille and the A-pillar trim. On the grille, we're going to start by inserting the tabs closest to the windshield, and we'll just push this down into place. There we go. With the dash grille in place, we can replace the A-pillar trim. Again, we're going to insert the teeth here down in, so we're just going to work it down in, and then we'll replace the 10mm bolt. Get the bottom lined up. There we go. And we can see we have everything lined up properly when you can see the hole right there. So we'll grab our 10mm bolt and start that back. And we'll tighten it up. All we have to do is pop the door back into place. So as we can see, dash speaker, super easy. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the front door and get the door panel taken off, and we'll get the new 6x9 installed. Before we start disassembling the door panel, let's go over a quick overview of all of the connection points and the things that we need to remove to actually be able to get the panel off. So the first thing here on the front door is going to be this trim piece. This is just going to be held on with 3 little clips. The one that everybody always forgets about is this little push clip right here in the corner. We'll also remove the trim piece here behind the door handle. And then there's one more screw that's right here in the grab handle of the door. Once we get those off, it's just push clips all the way around the edge. So we'll start up here with this piece. You just grab it with your fingers and pull it straight off. You'll notice there's 3 pins here. A lot of times these little white clips, they like to just stay in the door. So before we go any further, we're just gonna kind of grab these and you can give them a pinch and remove them. And we're gonna go ahead and put them back on the trim piece so that we have them for later. Now we're going to move on to the clip here that holds the door panel. So you'll see there's a little circle in the middle. We're just going to push in until you heard it click. And then you can grab some sort of panel tool and we're just going to lift that straight out. Next, we're going to remove the cover here behind the door handle. So again, plastic pry tool. Find it's kind of easier to pull the handle out, and we're going to insert this right here next to the lock mechanism. And this cover piece will pop out, and there is a Phillips head screw back there that we're going to remove. Last up is the screw located here in the grab handle. So if you have anything in there, we'll just remove it, and we'll move the one Phillips head screw. Now that we have all of those out of the way, we can basically just grab the bottom of the door panel, and we're just going to start pulling back towards us and release all of the clips all the way around the edge. With those released, we can then lift the door up and off the window ledge. And now we need to move to the back of the door panel and release the lock and lock cable and the connectors. All right, we're going to release the cables here so we can pull them up out. We're going to swivel the ball until it comes out of its holder. Repeat the same for the bottom. Just take note when you go to put these back in, the one with the white connector goes on the top and the one with the green connector goes on the bottom. We can now remove the wiring harnesses. Kind of pull this collar out here, press the push tab. There we go. That will free that one up, and we have one more in the front here. Now that you have your door panel completely removed, this is a good time to check to make sure that you don't have any of the retaining clips that stayed in the door. If you did, go ahead and grab a panel removal tool, go ahead and pop those out and put them back in your door panel for later. All of ours came out, so we're going to move on to removing the 6x9 speaker. So you can see the speaker wire right here on the front. We're just going to depress the tab, and we're going to pull that up and out of the way. We're going to grab, you can either use a 10mm socket or a Phillips head screwdriver, and we're going to remove the 4 screws that hold in the factory speaker. With the 4 screws out of the way, we can just lift the speaker up and out of the door. So as I mentioned in the intro, we are not going to be reusing these, so we're going to go ahead and set the speaker and the factory screws off to the side. All right, time to get the Alpine 6x9 in the door. So we need a couple things. We need your Trailgrid Pro 6x9 mounting bracket, you need your 6x9 speaker, and we need the other 2 bags of hardware. You're going to use the larger 1/4-inch bolts to secure the speaker adapter, and then the smaller panhead Phillips head screws to secure the speaker to the bracket. So let's grab 4 of the 1/4-inch screws and we'll mount the bracket first. So when we're mounting our bracket, you'll see that it's an oval obviously, but you'll see that there's the 2 long edges look different. The side with the hump here, we actually want to go up towards the window. So we're going to place this right over the factory connectors, and we'll start all 4 bolts by hand to make sure we have everything nice and lined up. Now that we have our 4 screws lined up, we can switch over to a 3/8 inch socket, and we'll go ahead and tighten these down. Again, just kind of like the tweeter brackets, these just need to be snug. We don't need to over torque them. All right, so those are nice and snug. Bracket sits nice and flush, so that's exactly what we're going for. For the next step, we're gonna grab our bag of Phillips head pinhead screws here. We're gonna need 4 of them to secure our speaker. We have our adapter. We're gonna go ahead and connect it to the factory wiring. We're just gonna line those up, give it a nice snap. And you'll see in the bracket, there's actually slots cut into the bracket. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna route our speaker wire right in that little slot. And then we're gonna tuck our speaker right into place. And you can see that that lines up nicely, keeps that nice and tight and out of the way. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna make sure that our speaker is centered, and we'll use our 4 screws to secure the speaker to our speaker bracket. Now, when you are completing this step, this is the time to be very careful. We do not want to put our screw or our screwdriver through the speaker itself. So just take your time. What I like to do is kind of hold it, give it a little push, and then I'm actually going to put my hand in front of the speaker just to protect it. I'd rather stab myself than my new speaker. And we'll just go real slow. And you see that that screw bites right into the speaker bracket. Now that you kind of have one in there, it'll hold itself, and we can go ahead and do the other 3. Again, we'll just check, make sure that our connector is nice and tight there. Again, I'm going to put my hand over the speaker. And there we go. Again, don't need to over torque. We're just holding a speaker into a bracket. All right, there it is. That looks awesome. So nice tight fit all the way around. So now that our 6x9 is installed, we can work on putting the door panel back together. Put our door panel back together, we need to connect the 2 wiring connections, and then we'll do the cables. So we'll just find the first one here. Heard it snap into place, and then the main switch connector is going to get pushed in, and then the collar is going to slide forward. Next up is the cables for the door lock and the handle. So again, the green one is going to go on the bottom. So we're going to insert the ball, and we'll twist it, and that little slot will lock right in place. Do the same thing with the one on top. We're going to insert the ball, swivel it, and lock that into place. With that connected, we can hang the door back on the window ledge. Make sure that's pushed all the way down into place. And we know that it is because our little pin connector here, hole line is lined up. And we can just go and push all the way around the edge. Get all those connections lined up. They're all back in place. So now we're going to replace the screw in the grab handle, the screw behind the door handle, put our pin connector, and finally our corner trim here. Start with the one in the grab handle here. It's going to be the larger of the 2. Replace the smaller screw that goes behind the door handle. Grab our cover plate, get that lined up. Start with the edge away from the lock mechanism, and just push that until it goes right into place. We'll grab our pin here, So when we remove this, the pin was pushed in. What you're going to want to do is push it further out so that the pin is sticking out the backside. Then insert it, and then we're just going to push it until it sits flush with the hold down. And then the last piece is our corner trim here. Get that lined up and pop it into place. Really super simple on the front door, and it's going to be pretty much the same process on the back door. So let's go ahead and move there, and we'll install our new 6.5-inch speaker. Rear doors on the Tacoma, again, super simple, just like the front doors to remove. The only difference really is the little push clip that we had closer to the hinge. Now on the back doors is out here towards the edge. So kind of the similar thing. We're going to take out the push pin there. This upper panel will usually just come off kind of as an attachment of the door panel itself. We're going to take off the cover here behind the door handle. Again, one more screw down here in the grab handle of the door, and obviously pressure clips, pop clips all the way around the edge. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to start here towards the outside of the door, and we're going to remove that pin. Again, we're just going to push it in until it clicks. And then we can pry it up out of the way. All right, we'll set this off to the side. We're going to move behind the door handle here. Again, pull the door handle out, and we'll just pop that plate out. Set that off to the side. We're going to grab our Phillips head screwdriver and remove the one screw from behind here. And one more down here in the grab handle itself. All right, now that we have that out of the way, we will start up here on the trim. And the bottom of this is attached to the door panel itself, so I'm just actually going to keep working my way down. There we go. And now that we have that all loosened up, we can lift the door panel up and off the window ledge. And much like the front door panel, you're going to have the two cables and the window switch connector to remove. So we'll go ahead and remove those in the same fashion that we did the front. All right, so we have our door panel off. Again, make sure we have all our clips. We're missing, again, the 3 white ones here. So we'll go ahead and pull these out of the door panel. We'll set them back on here, and we'll set this off to the side. With access to our speaker now, again, we're going to depress the tab on the connector here. And we'll pull that straight out, and then we'll grab our 10mm socket, and we're going to take off the 3 bolts holding in the factory rear speaker. All right, there we go. Again, we're not going to reuse these, so we're going to set the speaker and the bolts to the side, and we'll grab our new Alpine 6.5-inch speaker. We're going to start with our Trailgrid Pro speaker adapter ring. And what you want to note on this is the 3 tabs here are only going to line up one way on the door panel. So position this. Got it on the first try. So we're going to grab 3 of our 1/4-inch bolts, and we'll go ahead and get this started. We're going to switch over from our 10mm to our 3/8 socket, and we're going to go ahead and snug up these 3 bolts. Give it a nice fitment check that is tight to the door panel. So let's grab our 6.5-inch speaker, and again, we're going to just line up the connectors here, and then much like the front door, place the wires in the little slot in the adapter, and we're going to place our 6.5-inch speaker in here. So one thing to note, you do have a little bit more room to move around here compared to the 6x9. So just kind of line it up evenly in the center of the speaker mounting ring, and then we can use the same Phillips head panhead screws to secure the speaker to the adapter ring. Now we have our 4 screws securing the speaker to the bracket. Bracket's attached to the door. We have our connection made. Now we just need to put our door panel back on, and we're gonna move to the other side. Again, on the rear door, you just have the 1 window switch connection and the 2 cables here. So we'll start with the window switch, get that plugged back in, get our cable connected. Now we're gonna hang the top of the door on the window lip. Make sure we get that pushed all the way down. Again, we can see that our hole's lined up here. So we'll push our corner trim on, and we'll push the door panel into place. You heard everything snapped in nicely. So we're gonna grab the larger of the 2 screws. That one's gonna go back in the grab handle. The smaller of the 2 screws goes behind the door handle. Grab our little cover plate here again, get it pushed into place. Last thing we need to do is replace our little connector push pin here. So again, it's pushed all the way in. We're going to push it back out the other side, insert it in the door, and then just push it to where it's level. That wraps up the back door. We're gonna move to the other side and get the other half of the truck installed. Now we're gonna move on to the passenger side of the truck. So pretty much everything is gonna be the exact same, with the only difference really being the A-pillar trim here. We're gonna have to remove the grab handle. So on the grab handle, there's 2 little cover plates. We're gonna pop those off. There's gonna be a 10 mil bolt back there. We're gonna remove those, and then that will allow us to get the entire A-pillar trim off. So let's go ahead and grab our panel tool and we'll get those bolts out. So you'll see there's a little edge right here. We're just going to insert the panel tool and we will gently work that out. They do have a little retainer on there, so just be careful. If you pry too hard, that will break off. So we're going to go ahead and pop both of those covers out. And then you can see the 10 millimeter bolts in there. So let's grab our ratchet and we'll get those taken out. There's 1. And 2. Throw those in the cup holder and just give it a little pull. That will come out, and then we can lift it up out of the way, again releasing those teeth. So we're going to set that to the side. We take our panel tool, insert it under the speaker grill, and we'll just pop that up and out of the way. The other thing that's different about the passenger side is that you have the little sensor here. So there's just a little connector here. We're going to depress the tab and release the connector. Now that that's out of the way, we can remove the 2 10 millimeter bolts holding in the factory dash speaker. Get those out of the way and grab our speaker, work it out of the dash. Again, 1 speaker connector on the back here. Just press the tab and disconnect the connector. Grabbed our new Alpine dash speaker. We're going to go ahead and just reverse the steps. So let's find our speaker wire and we'll go ahead and connect our speaker to it. Line those up and give them a nice push until they click together. What we want to do is we want to grab the wire for the sensor and make sure that we have access to that after we put our new dash speaker in. So we'll get those lined up Grab our two 10mm bolts, start those by hand. Now that we have that started, we can tighten them down. Again, these only need to really be just finger tight. Those secured, we can grab our grill. We're going to connect the sensor, snap that back into place. Go ahead and insert the edge closest to the windshield and push our grill back into place. There we go. Let's grab the A-pillar trim. Again, we're going to start with locking in the bottom and push that all back into place. And we can see that our bolt holes are lined up. So let's grab those out of the cup holder. Go ahead and get that one started and then get it tightened down. Grab the other one, get it started. And with those secure, we can swivel the covers back over and work them back into place. Here we are. Fix our door molding. And we'll move to the right front door. Again, same exact steps as the driver's side, so let's go ahead and pop the cover off here. Remove the corner trim. Grab our clips. Go ahead and replace these for later. Go ahead and remove our two screws. And lastly, don't forget about the retainer. Pop that out. Go ahead and release our door panel. Connect our two door cables, and then passenger side you have two wiring harnesses. All right, there we go. Give our panel a check. Yep, got all our pieces. Go ahead and depress the tab, remove the speaker connector. Use our 10mm to remove the 4 factory bolts. Lift our speaker up and out of the way, and we'll set this to the side. Grab 4 more of the provided bolts, and again the bump here is going to go towards the top of the window. And let's go ahead and get these started. Now that we have these loosely started, let's switch over to our 3/8 socket and we'll get these tightened down. All right, perfect. At this point, we can grab our speaker. We're gonna make our one connection, and we'll grab 4 more of the Phillips head screws. Get our speaker loaded into the bracket. Again, put my hand in the way to protect the speaker. All right, get one started, and then we'll finish up the other 3. All right, Perfect. Let's grab our door panel. Again, front passenger, you have 2 connections and then the 2 cables. So let's get those hooked back up. And our 2 cables, green one's going to go on the bottom and the white one will go on top. Let's hang our door panel. Make sure we're pushed all the way down, holes lined up there so we can start pushing this back into place. Start up top with our corner trim. Resecure our retainer here in the corner. Grab our 2 screws. Again, the larger of the 2 goes in the grab handle. And the other one goes right behind the door handle. Finish it off with our cover plate. All right, perfect. That's all it takes. Let's finish this up. We got 1 more speaker to go on the back door. All right, everybody, we're getting to the home stretch here. 1 more speaker to go, then we can jump back up front and give everything a test. So let's finish up the install by getting the rear door panel off. Go ahead and loosen our panel. Pop our cover plate off. Remove our 2 screws. All right, let's grab the door panel. And we can lift it up out of the way. Our 2 door cables and our 1 connector. All right. We'll go put these back on our door panel. All right, let's move down and we'll get the speaker out. All right, let's remove our connector and 3 10mm bolts. Again, just lift it up out of the way. Grab our speaker adapter. We'll get this lined up. Again, these will only fit 1 way, so just keep spinning it until you find what matches. So there we go. Grab 3 more of our provided bolts. And again, with those started, swap out our 10mm for 3/8, and we'll snug these down. Let's go ahead and get out the last 4 of our panhead screws, and we'll grab our 6.5-inch speaker. Again, just make the 1 connection. And we're going to place our speaker. Make sure you get your wires in the channel there. And then we're going to go ahead and secure all 4 screws. All right, it's as easy as that. Let's go ahead and throw the door panel back on, and then we'll jump up front and give this new system a test. All right, everybody, this is the time that we've all been waiting for. We got all of our new Alpine S-Series speakers installed in the Tacoma. Now let's fire up the head unit. Let's find your favorite music and let's give it a new listen. All right, so we got our head unit fired up. We got Apple CarPlay connected, so let's find some music. What am I feeling? How about hard rock? Let's go ahead and crank it up, see what it sounds like. All right, so I can already hear the difference. That is way clearer than even the JBL system that was in here at the beginning of this video. So this is automatically an awesome upgrade. Audio system it's a lot of components. It's the head unit, it's the speakers, it's an amplifier, it's a subwoofer. So These are a great start to your audio upgrade in your Tacoma. These will only get better with amplifiers, and if you want more bass, subwoofers as well. Obviously, all of the signal starts in the head unit, so our recommendation is always starting with a head unit or considering doing a head unit and speakers together, because obviously speakers are only capable of what they're being sent, but I can tell you for a fact that these Alpines are capable of handling a lot of power, and they, just as advertised, high quality parts, great sound. These things are an instant upgrade over what was in here just a short time ago. So if you're interested in picking up this Alpine plug and play bundle for your Tacoma or any of our great other audio products, be sure to pick yours up today in the shop at www.trailgridpro.com. And like always, have a blast out there.